Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I'm your someday the backlog host, Madelyn.
I'm your the backlog will never host, Emma.
And thank you for tuning in for this year-end edition of Talk This.
Happy New Year! Did you start this at like 11:59? 30 seconds or something?
Just throughout, we'll say Happy New Year,
just to catch
case
it.
you're catching it right as it turns to the New Year. If you're not listening to this on the 31st, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But also, Happy New Year to you, because it's already the New Year. And you're probably like, what are you talking about? It's June. But Happy New Year to you. And we're going to be talking about the games that we played this year. And the games that we didn't play this year, probably.
Absolutely, yeah.
And everything in between. The games that we sort of played this year.
Yep.
So let's not keep them in suspense. Emma, do you have your final game total that you finished this year?
Yes, I do. I finished 32 games this year.
Oh my god.
Counting, like, DLC stuff, too, as their own separate entry. Which is 3 more games than last year. However, I did some quick maths. And it's probably about the same amount of time, with maybe last year actually being more time spent gaming.
Okay.
I played a few more shorter games this year than I did last year.
I feel like I'm really letting down the team.
How many games did you finish,
Well, I guess if we're counting DLC as separate, I could bump up the total by like a half here, because we did play the Trine 2 DLC.
There you go.
But 14.
That's pretty, 14.
What?
More than one a month.
It is more than one a month. Multiple of them with like 80 plus hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's 2 less than last year. Although last year I think I included like watching Union Cross.
Yeah.
So last year I had like 16, but I was like, but really 14.5. And I was like, what does that mean, Madelyn, of last December? I don't know. I'd have to go. I'm sure I explained it on the episode, but I did not go back in advance of this. I just read my notes.
Right.
So 14. Solid 14. Another kind of boom and bust gaming year for me, I think. But yeah, wow. I really am. You're the soul of Talk This. I don't really even know what a video game is.
Mal's much busier than me. Also has different hobbies.
I guess, yeah.
For me, it's just gaming.
Like, I did,
That's an exaggeration.
I did get back into, as I talked about, I think, a little bit in our last 6-week recap episode, I played very little on my Nintendo Switch this year. That's not true. I played a fair bit of Triangle Strategy, which was on my list from the end of the year last year as like a game I will probably finish in 2023, and I did. But I pretty much only played that on my Switch, with the exception of a few podcast games that are still languishing, and like maybe I'll go back to them someday.
Right.
Land. And like I did start reading again a little bit.
That's good.
So I would for a while I was playing Triangle Strategy on the Switch. When I finished Triangle Strategy, I started reading on the subway.
You know what? If more gamers read a book every once in a while, I think that the world would be better.
But see, I need to play more on this. I'm already jumping to my gaming resolutions. I would like to play more on the Nintendo Switch in 2024.
It's funny, because the Switch this year was definitely my most used system.
I haven't gotten over my aversion to Joy-Con drift, even though my Joy-Cons are not nearly as bad as they were at the worst.
I bought these, chunky third-party ones.
I have third-party controllers, too, and I just put batteries in them.
Why did you get ones you have to put batteries in?
I didn't realize it. I didn't know. I was like, these are cheap. I have batteries. I don't know. I just haven't set them up. Anyway, they're not even that drifty. I just think that there's a part of me that is like, I have a PlayStation 5. What's it even for?
Right.
Also,
from my 32 games, 10 off my backlog bingo.
Wow. Did you get a bingo?
I was very close. I have not quite finished Radiant Historia, which would have given me a bingo.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it was just a little too long. Wow. And I didn't play enough of it on the Europe trip.
Yeah, the biggest memorable gaming moment of 2023 was when Emma could not charge her 3DS while we were in Europe.
All my best laid plans.
It was a good idea.
Foiled by the lack of Googling something I probably should have Googled.
You had to talk to us instead.
Yeah.
Alas. Are you able to rattle off all the games that you finished?
No. Not off the top of my head.
Well, then I win, because I can. Here we go.
I just wrote down the more memorable ones.
Here are all the games that I finished. Every single one of them was memorable, so, haha. Yakuza Like a Dragon. That took like 3 months. That held down the total, I have to say, a little bit. Vampire Survivors. River City Girls. River City Girls 2. Trine 2, plus DLC, so I guess give me half a point. Trine 3. Trine 4. Chia. Tunic. Everyone remember that episode where I played only games that started with T?
Yes, I do.
There it was. We Love Katamari. Lost Judgment. Triangle Strategy. Like a Dragon Gaiden.
Alright, I can rattle off my games. I've pulled it up now.
Okay.
I played Crisis Core Reunion. Deathmark. Fire Emblem Engage. A Space for the Unbound.
It hurts me to, like, listen to you talk about these.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Space for the Unbound, Chained Echoes, Hi-Fi Rush, Paranormacite, Resident Evil 4, Aiden Chronicles Rising, the Fire Emblem Engage DLC, Coffee Talk 2, Milk Inside a Bag of Milk, Inside a Bag of Milk, and Milk Outside a Bag of Milk, Outside a Bag of Milk.
That was so wild. Another memorable gaming moment of 2023. Me on my Nintendo Switch, when it pops up, Emma is also online playing Milk Inside a Milk Inside a Milk.
Yes.
And I was like, what is this?
Chia, Fuga 2, Neocab, Final Fantasy 13-2, a Master Detective Archives Rain Code, the Citizen Sleeper DLCs, all 3 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Just counted as 1, but I played all 3 of those DLCs. Dredge, Oxenfree 2, Grim Grimoire once more, Vemba, I read the main story of The House of Fata Morgana, Stillness of the Wind, Pyre, Dodgeball Academia, Separate Ways, Resident Evil 4, Slay the Princess, In Stars in Time, Alan Wake 2, and Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. Plus a considerable chunk of Baldur's Gate 3, Radiant Historia, and of course, Trails of Cold Steel 4.
Yes, I also have 5 on my unfinished. I did a better job. Here's a trend piece of 2023 for me. I did a better job finding demos for the podcast to play, rather than like buying a bunch of games and being at the end of the year like, oh no, I have so many to finish. I also just really, the last 2 months of the year were not strong for me playing games for the podcast. Really good, like, you know, so many of these games that I played like a bajillion of were podcast games. I feel like I did a great job in the middle of the year, and just the fall, just a disaster for my ability to keep up with actually playing games for the podcast. So, a recommitment in 2024 to that. But also good that there are more demos.
Yeah.
Now. Although some of the games I played as demos were the ones where it's like, oh, actually, maybe I would have liked, like, you said Space for the Unbound, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites from this year.
I enjoyed that demo. But I haven't gone back to it, because I'm terrible. The unfinished, I have Scribblenauts, which I don't think I will, it'll just sit there. Kentucky Route Zero, which I have to play on airplanes. So, soon, maybe.
Yeah.
Mask of the Rose, which I liked, but I just didn't like enough to, like, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Season, which I kind of soured on after I found out that they're terrible.
Yeah.
And I started The Last of Us 2, which I will obviously continue to play.
Right.
In 2024. I almost said in 2023. That's this year. I will continue to play that in 2024. Also, I did not give myself finished credit for FTL.
Yeah, that counts, I think.
But, FTL is in the misc category.
Right.
Played a bunch of it. Got to the final boss. Didn't beat it. So, maybe my total could be... My total is 15 and a half if you want to be really generous.
There you go.
And it's 14 if you want to be real.
Well, what say you, Madelyn? Was this the best year in gaming?
I feel like I had a pretty good gaming year. I played, none of the games that made it the quote-unquote best year in gaming.
Pretty much same with me, yeah.
You played Baldur's Gate, at least.
I played some of Baldur's Gate. I played Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
I think those were really the big ones that I hit. I guess Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah.
But obviously, we didn't play, and Clickbait Boyfriend has not yet played, although he hungers for it daily. The Zelda.
Nope.
The Zelda, that's what it's called.
That is what it's called.
The Zelda. I don't know what else came. Like what? I know a lot of things came out. What else made it the quote unquote best year in gaming?
No Spider-Man, I guess.
Yeah, nobody played. Well,
I didn't play Final Fantasy 16.
We've all kind of soured on Spider-Man though, right?
You have?
Haven't we all soured on Spider-Man? Hasn't the culture decided
think so.
It costs too much money?
Oh, that's not really about Spider-Man specifically.
Yeah,
also, you're jumping ahead a little bit.
Sorry. News items.
We're talking about the best year of gaming from a player perspective
Sorry. You're right. Were there enough puddles in that game? That's really the question.
That's really, the puddles question really has ruined the AAA space forever.
That was the beginning of the end.
It was.
We'll look back on that.
We really will.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I had a pretty good year in gaming, but I also played nothing current.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this year I played a lot of stuff that I thought was cool or that I liked. There are a few games that I really liked, Space for the Unbound, like I said, Alan Wake 2, probably In Stars in Time, maybe Slay the Princess. And then a lot of stuff that I just thought was pretty good. I don't think... compared to last year, I don't think this was as good of a year. I played a lot more games last year that, set me on fire, I think.
Yeah.
Especially of games that came out this year. I think that my most fun gaming experience from this year was Final Fantasy 13-2, honestly. Mm-hmm. And that obviously really did not come out this year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think for me it's oh man, my games are coming.
Yeah. The February through April will be quite busy.
Yeah.
With just 2 games.
I still have to play all the Final Fantasy 7s though.
Yeah.
I'm in so much trouble. It was interesting for me, I'll circle back to best year in gaming, but for me personally, mm-hmm. In looking at my 2022 recap, I made a note that I had not played very many series last year. I was didn't play it the first year in a long time. We didn't play any Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
That still holds true.
Still true.
But I only played Judgment, I think, from RGG, because I started Like a Dragon right at the beginning of 2023. So I noted it as kind of a very disjointed kind of feeling year. But as a result of that, I think I got aggressively very into things sometimes last year. Yeah, because we got very into Isaac, we got very into Cult of the Lamb, the Unwaved.
4 of your 14 games, just the Trine series.
Yeah, you didn't even listen to me? Trine 2, Trine 3,
I know,
Trine 4.
it just sunk in, that's all.
Plus River City Girls 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I played Like a Dragon, I played Lost Judgment, and I played The Man Who Erased His Name.
Absolutely.
We Love Katamari, obviously, is an ongoing thing. There are still things on my list this year that are I got very into that.
Yeah.
Of trying to see a series being one of them, and obviously, I think for all of my games, they became things that I was briefly or for a longer period of time, mostly the ones that I finished, very, very into. I think the only exception on this list is Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
Which was sort of we're gonna do this.
The mini Cold Steel 4 for you, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But this was definitely a year where I don't know that I got super into Chia at any point either. Right. I played that in a relatively contained period of time, but I didn't I took some breaks too.
Right.
Anyway, but it was definitely a return to form of getting very into series, which is something that I hope to continue to seek in 2024. I like a series, as I was talking about last week's show, right?
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit tempted to get into those. There's so many.
Ys.
Yeah, I'm there's so many of them. Yeah. I could just keep playing them.
You could.
And I enjoyed that. That was the thing that was really nice about Trine, is we liked it and we were let's play them all.
Yeah.
And on a lesser level with River City Girls, and obviously, the RGG games are the macro version of that.
Yeah.
So very rewardingly series driven game for me this year. Although standalones like Tunic also were, more of the oh wow, we're gonna do nothing but think about this for 2 weeks.
There you go.
So a little bit of more return to my like series form this year. So in that way, it felt like a more cohesive year of gaming, if a little bit more scattered in terms of like, there's some months where I played a lot, and there are some months where it was like I did not play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think 2024 is going to be a stronger year in gaming for me, especially because I believe they will announce something about Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they're waiting for Rebirth to come out, and then they'll be showing trailers for.
You know how because Sora will be in it. You'll like get a glimpse of Goofy at the end of the game.
You joke about this literally every time,
because I'm funny.
Done with it. My New Year's resolution is to say stop.
Wow. It'd be so funny if you saw like a Trinity mark somewhere.
Sure, a hidden Mickey. Why not?
Yeah,
but you really gotta rein it in, Madelyn.
You're right, I do.
Anyway, bad year for gaming from the developer
humanity
and
side of things,
media side. You know, the Game Awards happened. We talked about the Game Awards a little bit.
We did.
But like, you know, there's an open letter for Jeff to try and address Palestine from the feature class. I wasn't expecting him to do that at all. No. I signed that letter, but like, he wasn't going to do that. But more egregious, I felt like, from like an optics standpoint, is like there was absolutely no mention of like the titanic layoffs that have happened this year, which is like fully within precedent for the Game Awards to address. They talked about like the year that there was so many like sexual harassment scandals and stuff. They addressed that at the Game Awards briefly, but they did bring it up. That it feels like that's just like an easy like thing you can do to bring it up, but nothing.
I feel like this is gonna sound weird. I feel like it's easier. Okay, so the Game Awards, right, is a marketing thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're on the same page about that, but just listeners, the Game Awards is a marketing thing. It's not an award show.
Yeah.
So, I feel like and not that obviously sexual harassment scandals continue, right?
Right.
But when that was a thing, all of the companies, at least I feel like, took like bare minimum steps to be like, we're changing the culture, whatever. Even if they didn't actually get rid of the people who facilitated that culture or whatever. But like, you can bring that up because it gets to be like, oh, this was bad, but like the industry is coming together to combat it and make it a better place, right?
Right.
There's no way to be like, but now you get to not make any money. Now, like, there's no like positive spin on a bunch of people lost their jobs.
Yeah.
So I totally I didn't expect him to address it, because like, how would you address it without pissing off the people that are like paying for this? You know?
Yeah. That's fair.
There's no version of it where you can be like, and like, now women are the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I say that's fair from like a I get what you mean thing, but I don't think it's
it's still bad.
Yeah. It's
still bad that they didn't, but I just feel like I personally, like, I saw people being like, he should address it. And it's like, of course he's not going to address it. Like, there's no way for him to address it that is at all in keeping with the spirit of this event.
I feel like at least they could have toned down on like this is the platinum year in gaming thing that they said like every 3 seconds.
It's marketing.
At the Game Awards.
It was the platinum year in gaming.
But anyway, all that to sort of preface that there were mountains and mountains of layoffs this year. Not really because the game industry is struggling, but just because it's not ballooning as substantially as it was the past couple of years during the pandemic.
Well, it's like all of tech, right?
Yes, there were also substantial tech layoffs this year as well.
So, you know, like everyone who hired like crazy in the pandemic, they maybe hired like too crazy. Which is unfortunate, because now a bunch of people don't have jobs.
Yes. And are having a very difficult time finding new jobs in the industry as well. Nobody's really hiring right now either. Yeah. Unfortunately. Pretty bad year for games media, too.
Yeah.
I'm subscribed to a lot more newsletters now.
I'm like facing down that I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, I subscribe to Aftermath, which I like quite a bit. I check on Remap Radio as well. So, like, there's new initiatives with people I like, you know, who have smart things to say about games that I'm enjoying seeing what they do. But it does suck that a lot of, like, major publications, like, oh my god, like, I go to Kotaku, you scroll down once, and it is all ads.
Yeah, no, everything's all ads.
I can't find anything on Kotaku anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it was always a difficult website to navigate, but, like, I literally can't find anything anymore on that site. And, like, that's supposed to be, like, a dedicated gaming site. It's one thing for the Washington Post to be like, actually, we don't want video games.
Yeah.
But it's
actually,
just...
Gene Park can cover every game.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, it's rough all around.
Well, and it's interesting, too, that, like, you know, it's great that people are starting their own kind of self-funded, you know, whatever, defector style site. But that's also, like, only really possible because of a, like, social media landscape that also doesn't exist anymore, right? Yeah. All these people can be like, hey, we're minor Twitter personalities. You know us. Don't you want to follow our site? In a way that, like, even if there was, like, a way to be an entry-level games journalist in a way that there was, you know, X years ago, right? Not that it was ever great.
Yeah.
But even if there was a way to, like, start like these people started, like, no, there's no, like, public square for it to be like, yes, this is a person that I would follow to their own newsletter.
Yeah, Twitter was a very important thing for people doing, like, freelance media criticism.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that has been X'd out, you might say.
Hey.
You can't open a post without there being at least one sex bot in the replies.
Yeah. But you can't even open a post without being on Twitter. You have to have an account to, like, even look at posts.
Yes, right. They stopped it so that you can't look at it without an account anymore, too, which is just, like... I mean, I'm there until they start charging me, basically.
Yeah.
I go look at things. There's still people there. I did make a Blue Sky account. I was going to make us a Blue Sky account.
Great. I'll work that into the 2024.
We also have co-host accounts, me and the podcast,
nice.
Which I use sparingly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think either of those are going to become an equivalent to Twitter, though.
Yeah. I just, like, I don't want to... I understand that things should cost money. I think this next decade is going to be challenging for me, of, like, I don't expect, like... It's already hard for me that, like, the Post used to be, like, even the Post, I can't look at.
Yeah.
You know, that's already been a hard adjustment over the past, like, 5 years. And I still haven't adjusted.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I really have my, like, research for side quest routine of being, like, topic, Kotaku.
Yeah.
Topic, Polygon. Topic, Vice Games Waypoint.
Yeah.
Topic, The Verge, right? And now if they're going to write about it on, like, Aftermath or Remap or whatever, and I have to pay for it, I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
But it's a hardship for me personally.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's next? I have to subscribe to a magazine?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a problem with, like, there are so many subscriptions to manage nowadays, and this is a topic, like, beyond gaming.
Yeah.
But, like, I have so many monthly payments that I cancel and uncancel when I need it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Why am I doing this sometimes? You know? Yeah. So, as much as it seems like it was a great year for a lot of players, a lot of really well-made games, a lot of bad stuff happening behind the scenes, which I feel like is sort of encompassed in the Insomniac leak that happened. Yeah. Which generally that was awful.
Yes,
right?
Very bad.
I don't, you know, there was a lot of debate over whether you should cover it. And it's like, obviously they shouldn't, like, publish people's social security numbers on news articles, but, like, I don't know.
It's foolish to say that you can't say that this happened.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, there is some stuff in the leak regarding, like, that I think is important to discuss now that it's out here, regarding the cost of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Which was about 200 million more than the first game.
Which is a total of $300 million.
Yes. It is not broken even yet, despite, like, hitting record sales in its first 24 hours.
Yeah.
And there's just stuff in there where they're discussing, like, can the player even see the extra $100 million that we have put in there? Can they see the beauty of the puddles, right, you might say?
Yeah. Like, what percentage of players even have televisions that are of the quality that they would be able to appreciate the difference?
And they're even probably going to have layoffs there. Now, because that's one of the suggestions for how Sony wanted them to cut their budget of doing, like, 70 layoffs, essentially. Which is sort of, it's wild to hear about from Insomniac. That seems like a company that's, like, really doing things right in a lot of ways, right? But it just shows that we have these beautiful, beautiful games, but in a lot of ways that sort of AAA development is entirely unsustainable.
Yeah.
It's just not, you can't spend that much money on a game. Does it really do anything for it beyond a certain million mark?
Well, I haven't, like, delved into the details of the leak beyond the sort of, like, headline news of it. How do they anticipate making $300 million on this game?
I don't know if they did. I just think perhaps that's the amount of money it ended up costing.
Yeah. Because I was wondering, like, okay, like, there might be an interesting business model that not interesting, just a different business model that only a company that is as large and as, like, you know, quasi-first party as Insomniac could bet on, which is that, like, you know, like, Spider-Man will not only sell games, it sells PlayStations.
There's a little bit of that, for sure.
And also, it's a game that people will buy, like, for most games, probably, right? Like, you have to bet on an overwhelming percentage of your sales coming in the first couple weeks. And that's probably still true, but I think a little bit less for something like a very brand property like Spider-Man, right? Like, that's got to be a game that has, I mean, not evergreen, because there's nothing that's evergreen in games. That's got to be a game that you can bet on a pretty strong sales tail, right? That people are going to, like, keep buying it for people and for themselves, because people like Spider-Man. Yeah. Although, who knows? Superheroes are out, right? But Spider-Man always in.
Yeah.
So.
There's some other stuff in there where they just talked about, like, oh, actually, Miles Morales was really great.
Yeah.
Because we made it in a short amount of time for a little amount of money. I sold it for less, and people bought it. Like, perhaps if we did more of these little shorter experiences, that could, you know, pad us out along instead of just releasing these big, literally make it or break it type titles. Yeah. Which is perhaps, you know, you were talking to me about, like, the RGG, one of the people at Kotoku saying,
I think.
Like, oh, like, people responded really positively to Gaiden.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's, they have a faster release cadence than any like Western AAA thing, but I wonder if it's a little bit of that too, if they're like, oh, like, we could make small quick games like this and people respond positively to it still.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's tough. Like, Spider-Man is tough, right? Because you're gonna be under, like, such a microscope, especially after the puddles debacle. So it's challenging. I also do sort of feel like, I mean, like, this is a bad way to be, right? But having to lay off a bunch of people when you finish a big project does sort of seem like a little bit the name of the game, right? Unless you immediately jump into the next giant project.
But aren't you?
I mean, I guess.
You know, like, Spider-Man 3, obviously, in the works. Wolverine, in the works. These are things we knew already.
That's fair enough.
And you'd think that, like, going from Spider-Man 1 to Spider-Man 2, you would actually want to maintain a lot of the same team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're familiar with that and understand how it works and perhaps could do a little bit more building off of something to the next one.
Yeah.
I was reading something that's, say, like, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth team is, like, 80 to 90% the same people who worked on Remake.
Right.
which I think is probably more what you want if you're
definitely
making things that are part of the same series, right?
Yeah. I just wish I knew more about, like, what was the intended budget of the game. Right.
Sure.
The intended budget of the game was $200 million, and it came in at $300 million. That's just a bad situation.
Sure. I mean, I think it also speaks to the it's very hard to manage a project that size.
Of course. I can't imagine what it would be like to manage something
and probably to estimate a budget and estimate a time frame and everything. Is probably quite difficult.
Sure. I know. Yeah. I don't mean to say like, I could do it.
But I think it'll be interesting into next year and probably the year after that to see just what happens in the AAA space, particularly like first-party developer space. Microsoft still feels like they're in a bit of a holding pattern right now. Yeah. They've got games coming down the line from studios they've purchased, but still pretty far away.
Well, that's reflective of the same problem there, right? Just in a very different way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they bought all these studios, 3-4 years ago now, it feels like. It probably wasn't that long ago, but it feels that long ago.
A number of them probably that long ago,
and the fact that the games are so huge means that there's been no return on investment.
Yes. And it feels like Sony is panic pivoting away from the live service plans that they had laid out.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to stall a lot of their releases.
What is Naughty Dog working on now?
Well, they were working on The Last of Us Online.
Right, but now they're not.
They're putting out The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered as a stopgap, I assume.
Sure.
And then, I don't know. Something single player, I assume. But I don't know if they have a groundwork laid out for that yet. Or any ideas or anything.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah. No, the only thing we knew they were working on for a while was, I guess, part 1, and then...
Sure.
But, and then this online thing that they've now pivoted away from. And, Sony has done layoffs there, and at Bungie, which is the company that they're really sneaky. Bungie's leadership was like, oh no, we won't have any layoffs, we won't do any layoffs.
But Sony will.
But Sony will. Yeah. And Sony, they acquired that purposefully to do their live service thing, and it feels like they're panic shifting away from that now.
Yeah, well, live service is everything's struggling. Everything costs too much.
Yeah,
there's too many juggernauts in any given space.
While Nintendo will just continue, I don't think anything can kill Nintendo.
No.
Really.
Yeah.
Switch 2 probably coming out next year or being announced next year.
Okay, bets. What do you think it'll be called?
The Swooch.
No. Be serious.
I'm being serious.
I think the Switch Advance.
The Switch Advance?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Hope it folds then.
You never know. Folding phones starting to be in again.
Yeah.
So it could happen.
Hopefully it's backwards compatible. With Nintendo, you literally never know.
Yeah. I think it has to be now. I think
You say that, but Nintendo does not function according to logical rules of the universe.
I just feel like it's different now. I feel like if something comes out that, if they make something that looks nothing like the Switch, then okay.
Sure.
But I don't think they'll do that. I think the Switch has been too successful for them to go back to anything that feels more like a console, or to ever, as we talked about in our handheld games episode, I don't think there's any version where we're having anyone who's making things that are for a DS-like thing ever again.
Yeah.
So with that reason, I don't see any reason why they would go away from their kind of best of both worlds thing.
Yeah.
The only reason they would go away from it is if anybody cared about the power of the system, right? Which obviously they do not.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if they were we're gonna buy the Steam Deck. Haha.
I wonder how well the Steam Deck is doing for Valve. They don't sell very many of them.
Doesn't matter. Valve holds a monopoly on the whole PC industry.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
They've got to be swimming. If there's anyone who could make a $300 million game, it's probably Valve.
And yet they won't.
They won't. But they could. Swimming pools of money, no doubt. Yeah, I don't really remember where I was going. Oh, I feel like if it's something that there's just no reason why they would have to remake Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
there's no reason why they wouldn't want to continue to sell massive amounts of Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8 and whatever until they release the next ones.
Over under on the Metroid Prime 4 being a launch title for whatever the new system is.
I don't know. I don't care about Metroid, so it's hard for me to feel...
I'm just sort of fascinated by the Metroid Prime 4 debacle more than I'm interested in Metroid, I guess.
I think there's a Metroid launch thing, but I think it's not Metroid Prime 4. Okay. That's not based on anything. I think like Metroid Snap.
Metroid Snap.
Or like a Metroid Picross game. It's a launch title.
That would be a way to start off on the foot.
I love Picross.
Sure.
That should be a resolution for me to find more murder by numbers type games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. Like my boyfriend like wants to get a Switch for Spain. I'm like, you can't do it. You gotta wait.
Yeah.
You can't get it now. We can't have two ancient drifty systems. We gotta have at least one cutting edge drifty system.
Exactly.
Do you say over under on if the Swoosh has better Joy-Cons? They have to, right? Like, there's enough consumer lawsuits that they have to be marginally better.
I'm sure they'll be marginally better, yeah. I feel like every modern controller device has some risk of drift, though, so...
What if they don't have Joy-Cons? You think about that? What if it's just touchpad?
I would
Not just a D-pad, but it's like a joystick, but it's not a joystick. You know what I'm saying?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I would like more Switch games to have touchscreen support, please and thank you.
Swoosh.
I would like the Swoosh games to have touchscreen support.
You feel stupid that you picked that name for it now, don't you? Because you have to keep saying it. The Switch Advance is so much better.
It's Swoosh and they have little eyeballs in the O's.
Oh, nice.
Maybe there's something with eyes. They're doing something with eyes.
Actually, the launch game will be Swoosh Fit. Probably.
Swoosh Fit?
Yeah.
Swoosh Foot?
Swoosh Spoots.
Swoosh Spoots. Not saying words anymore.
Ring Foot Adventure 2. Honestly, when is a Ring Fit Adventure sequel coming?
I don't know.
Honestly, when are more games that use the ring that everybody got and isn't using coming?
I don't know.
More peripheral games.
Yeah.
Where's Rock Band?
I was seeing something about like a Rock Band peripheral getting made. Like a third-party thing.
Good.
Limited run, whatever. Not limited run the company, but limited run.
Limited run. Yes. I understand.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for whatever Nintendo cooks up next. Like I said, I spent most of my time on the Switch this year, followed by the PS5, followed by the Xbox.
As it should be.
It was a lot more balanced last year, I think. This year definitely steps down in terms of how much time I spent on each system.
Yeah.
Switch had a little bit of an unfair advantage with Engage, though.
That does inflate the time.
Yes.
I have to play that still.
It's so fun.
I still haven't... I have Fire Emblem Warrior, whatever. The new Warriors.
The Three Hopes.
Three Hopes. I haven't played that.
You have the Persona 5 Warriors.
I haven't played that. Do I have that?
I think so. I think you got it on the PlayStation Plus or something.
Oh, I did!
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Neo: The World's End with You?
That I've not forgotten about. I know I have that.
You have to make yourself a backlog bingo, Madelyn.
These games are all so long.
Backlog bingo! You don't have to do my 5x5. You can do 3x3.
Alright, listeners and Emma, I need your advice. How do I play other games this winter?
What do you mean, how do I play other games?
Acknowledging that... So, between now and the end of January, I have to finish The Last of Us 2.
Right.
And... probably I should try to play the Yuffie.
Yeah, that's not that long.
Thing. I know that's not that long, but I don't have that much time. I only have 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And Click My Boyfriend is around, I should pay attention to him. Right? So, we probably should play Trine 5.
Yeah.
He's here. Or Unravel 2.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, given that, probably most of my gaming time between now and the release of Infinite Wealth is spoken for.
Right.
How do I get myself to play other things while playing Infinite Wealth?
Do it on your Switch.
Yeah.
Pick a game on your Switch to play.
That's true.
Legitimately. I like to have something I'm playing on my TV and something I'm playing on one of my handheld devices. Mm-hmm. So that I can play some stuff upstairs and downstairs in my current abode.
Yeah.
And I find that is really helpful of, like, having, like, you don't have to switch out the disc, you don't have to, like, change where the icons on the home screen are, you just have one on each system.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Or I could just play Dead Souls on the PS3.
This year's the year I'm gonna get a bingo.
Wow.
It's also the year, it's the month. Well, it's not quite the month.
It's almost the month.
It's almost the month when I will finish Cold Steel 4.
I wish I knew how far into the podcasting works. I'd be like, if you started this episode at X time, you'd start the year with Emma saying, this is the year I'm going to finish Cold Steel 4.
It's truly the most
beautiful.
It's truly the most inspiring message you could go into the new year
If
with.
Emma can finish Cold Steel 4, you, listener, you can do anything.
You can do anything. Truly.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to finish Cold Steel 4. I'm really going to push myself this month.
You're going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to do it. I wanted to recap my 2023 resolutions for
Sure.
everyone and how I did. I said, and this I'm just reading directly from my notes, there's so many games to play and so many more coming out. I'm not really sure how to get on top of my backlog. Maybe it will solve itself when CBB moves overseas. I failed.
I feel like it did not solve itself. It made it worse.
Yeah, well, yeah. I lost judgment took up a lot of time.
That's true,
to be
too.
fair.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I just started working more.
Yeah.
Stupid. Dumb.
Silly. Don't work more. Play more video games.
Then I have, is this the year for Final Fantasy VII 14? ... question mark? It was not the year.
It will never be the year.
Free to level 60 though, right?
I think it's level 70 now, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Best deal in gaming. I think I have no choice but to watch The Last of Us TV show.
We did.
I did have no choice. This is the one that I did.
We did do
succeed
that.
in. Glad I watched it.
Yeah. It's not... It let me appreciate the game more.
It's true. I do feel like the game rose in my esteem.
Yeah.
As a result of the television show.
Yes.
To some extent.
Yeah.
Still a little overhyped, The Last of Us. Sorry.
Sure.
But TV show emphasized that there are some things about the game that they did well.
Yeah.
That they probably shouldn't have messed with.
Yeah.
And finally, I need to figure out a way to do more blogs. This will be my year.
This is the year.
This is the year.
I have 2 end of year blogs coming sometime in the next couple of weeks.
So beginning of year blogs.
Yeah. They're about last year.
Yeah.
They're summaries. You know, you have to wait for the year to be over to really post your summaries.
I want to get back. I mean, you know, not having like Clickly Boyfriend content really kind of threw off the
We really
thing.
gotta get back to split screen is really what we gotta do.
We do. Well, we first need to resolve. We're at a good moment for this because split screen readers, you would not know this, but we have finished Crash Landing on You.
Yes.
You would not know that from the blog. Who knows where we are on the
Not
published blog.
not close.
But we really need to resolve to be like, by the end of January.
Talk about a backlog bingo.
That's the real backlog bingo, is all of our Google Docs that are titled Cloy 12.102 MHA 5x21
Exactly.
or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna resolve.
Season 7 starting this spring.
God, no, we're on season 6, right? We're not on season 5.
We are now on season 6. The
Okay.
blogs are on season 5.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Yeah.
So we really gotta catch up on that. We gotta just do it.
Some slightly shorter season apparently. Starting late.
Okay, I'll take that. There's some seasons of My Hero where that would have been a really positive thing.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. But I need to figure out like some kind of way that I'm like writing one a month. It doesn't need to be like a big idea.
Just something.
It needs to be like, this is something that I did this month.
Yeah. Well, don't push yourself too hard.
I really am. I've probably already done it. I'm thinking about posting on my Instagram story today, like, should I do more or less in 2024? And, like, let the people decide. I really oscillate back and forth going in, like, my New Year's resolution. It's like, on one hand, I should probably resolve to try to do less.
Yeah.
So that I have, like, time to relax and feel like a human.
Yeah.
And, like, pursue my hobbies and whatever. But on the other hand, I'm like, but I could just do more. I could just not be a little whiny butt about it and just do more.
Uh-huh.
So who knows? The people will decide.
The people will decide.
It's the same thing here. I'm like, oh, like, is this a hobby or is this work? Should I do less or more?
It's a hobby, Madeline. It's a hobby.
So I have to do more.
You have to do more for your hobbies.
More hobbies. I can't possibly do more work. So it's got to be more hobbies.
Exactly.
More. Those were my 4 resolutions. So I did very badly on my resolutions. I watched The Last of Us. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So not strong. But do you have? Well, is there anything else from 2023 you want to talk about?
Man,
what's your game of the year?
My game of the year?
It's Alan Wake 2, right?
Yeah, realistically, it's probably Alan Wake 2. I think my personal favorite was probably A Space for the Unbound. But in terms of, like, being a game that's doing stuff that I also really enjoyed, definitely Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
But in terms of a game that was, like, this is my jam, you know, probably A Space for the Unbound.
Yeah.
And like I said, I probably had the most fun playing Final Fantasy 13 too this year.
A good trio.
Yeah.
I've had a tough time with it. I don't feel like
Final Fantasy 13 too.
Sorry, no, it's my game of the year. I don't feel like any of the RGGs were like cracked my like top 3 of the series.
Yeah.
7 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I'd have to think hard about that one because it's like a 3-4 spot.
Right.
So I don't really feel like those can be my game of the year. It's not Triangle Strategy. Sorry. I started that last year, so that'd be kind of a bad one anyway. Wheel of Katamari is too much of a ringer. That's my game of the year from like 2007.
Yep.
So like maybe Tunic.
That's fair.
Tunic was a very unique experience. Click with Boyfriend, I really enjoyed it. Even though he didn't play the first half of the game, because I was like trying to avoid spoiling him, and then totally gave that up.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Although I did sort of feel like the mystery, we had a lot of fun, and then the payoff of that lot of fun was not exactly enough.
Right.
Like we eventually hit the like this is too much level. But probably that, because like there's a part of me that's like Trine. I want to give it to Trine 2.
Just give it to all the Trines together. A collective Trine.
But it feels wrong that Trine 3 would receive any Game of the Year.
Trines 1, 2, and 4.
No, like if I was gonna pick one, I mean, as I discussed in detail on that 6-week recap, Trine 2 is the peak of the Trines. But I don't really feel like there's a poeticness to that, right? Like the local co-op game,
right?
But I think it's got to be Tunic. I think Tunic was like the most unique and only a game. Well, Trine 2 is also only a game could do this. Only a game could be this bad.
True.
So very gamey game experiences. Yeah, with a special honorable mention to Vampire Survivors for carrying me through all of my travels. But yeah, I don't feel like I have like a game of the year.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
Especially because Trine we played in such a short burst.
Yeah.
It's hard to stack up against like I spent months playing Like a Dragon and playing Lost Judgment, and Trine was like we stayed up until 3 a.m. for like 3 nights kind of experience.
Yeah.
That's not true. It was Tunic was longer than that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope to have a stronger Game of the Year contenders in 2024, because this year it was sort of like everything was good. Everything was good.
I think perhaps you will.
What if Infinite Wealth is bad?
I hope that it's
What if that's bad? What if Final Fantasy? What if they're just all bad?
At least they'll be exciting.
Yeah.
They'll be exciting bad.
You're probably right.
I'm just relieved I don't want to play Persona 3 Reload. Imagine if I wanted to play that.
You would be in trouble.
I would be in trouble.
You'd be in trouble.
My Persona 3 Portable Physical Edition that I was obligated to buy by my brain, my weird little brain, is coming in the mail now.
Good.
So I'll soon hold it in my little grubby hands.
Emma's hands are grubby. Don't forget. Don't lose track of the fact that she has grubby little hands, listeners.
Baby gamer hands that are quite grubby.
Like a baby's hand. Not like a baby, like toddler gamer hands. Baby-sized, but like the stickiness of a toddler gamer.
Yeah. It's resolutions time, I guess.
What do you resolve?
Well, I've put together, my backlog bingo.
Mm-hmm.
A new,
fresh
25 games
reloaded
to pick from.
Did you say 2025?
My fresh 25 games to pick from.
Thank you. I was like, we're not there yet.
I'm hoping to have 3 knocked out the first month of the year.
Oh my gosh.
Between Cold Steel 4, Radiant Historia, and Thirsty Suitors.
Emma is an example to us all.
I hope to have those 3 knocked out before Infinite Wealth comes out. And then just my time is commandeered.
Yeah.
For a while.
Taken over.
There. I have to finish both of those, both Infinite Wealth and Rebirth, before we go to PAX, or I will be not doing well, I think.
Here's the thing. Do you think that, here's your prediction, your over-under on, will any large companies have any presence at PAX? That's too dramatic. There are obviously
Nintendo
large companies.
will be there in some form, whether it's their little PlayStation, like it was last year.
It was so bad this year, though.
Yeah.
Will they have anything to show?
I don't know.
You have to take it over.
Princess Peach game, when's that coming out?
Okay, sure. Do you think they'll announce the Swoosh?
I hope so. Announce the Swoosh at PAX?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they'll do that.
No one would expect it.
True. That's true.
Do you think they'll announce Borderlands 4 at PAX?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, that seems likely to me.
That seems pretty likely, yeah.
Mad funny.
Show the Borderlands movie.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
I don't think we'll go see that. Unless it gets really good reviews, I guess.
You never know. It could be it could be good.
It could be mad funny.
It could be mad funny.
Didn't play any mad funny games this year.
I hope Pedro Pascal is in the Borderlands movie.
Just in the video games verse?
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal.
I would rather him and Chris Pratt together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Legend of Zelda animated movie. No, live action movie, right?
Live action.
It's gonna be awful. I'm looking forward to it.
You never know.
It's gonna be awful. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope that they do something bold with it.
No.
I hope it's a live action remake of "Excuse me, Princess."
No, they won't do it. They won't do it.
They're
still haven't seen the Mario movie. I'm not very enthused about it, to be honest.
It feels like you ought to see it, though.
I know. Perhaps on a movie night this year.
Yeah.
Where I'm feeling a little sleepy.
We can watch it at PAX.
Yeah, there you go.
PAX
in the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, we finally don't have Kingdom Hearts mobile content.
You're right.
To catch up on this year.
Well, you never know. Missing hope.
There won't be enough
Blink.
to catch up on by March for it to be a multi-hour endeavor.
Right.
And we can't watch it without Cosplay Boyfriend anyway. It'd have to be a stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I really hope we at least get some major company merch at PAX.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in my merch options.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I hope there's some cool stuff. That's why I played Slay the Princess.
Yeah, I know. I remember. Okay, so bingo. Cool. What else?
I don't know.
Catch up on... Do more split screen.
Do more split screen, for sure.
Yep.
Probably try to do some more blogs.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll be as regimented as you about it, but try to do some more blogs. Just the first few months of the year being so consumed make it hard to think past it, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting time.
Yeah, it's hard for me to predict too, because it's this is big games I want to play, and also the first quarter of the year is my calm work time.
Mm-hmm.
I say that. I'm
knock on
saying
wood.
that out loud. But it's calmer, and then Q2 is okay, here we go. So it's I just gotta I gotta find a way through that time to be more consistently playing through games.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately that meant this fall me making ill-advised choices about staying up late.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Oh, I want to make my way a little bit more through my Steam library. Now that I have a computer that's able to run any sort of game.
Yeah.
Not any sort of game, like...
I understand.
Like any sort of... Like, at all. Yes.
Emma got a gaming computer.
No, I didn't get a gaming computer, but it does have a little bit more RAM, so I can play some indie games on it.
Nice.
So I think I want to try to work through my Steam library a little bit.
That's pretty good. It's a good resolution. Let's see. Yeah, like I already said, I'd like to play more on my Switch. Basically couldn't play less on my Switch.
Yeah.
So, like to play more on my Switch. I would also like to play more smaller games in general.
Yeah.
Played no game that I would describe as small this year. Maybe some of the Trine games. But because I played those functionally as one large gaming experience, that more or less didn't count.
Yeah.
So would like to... There's all these ones that I, like, started and then didn't finish. Because I was like, no, I want to finish the big thing that I'm playing. I want to do a better job balancing that. So I can try to catch up to your games completed total. I think I played more than you in 2020 or 2021. And then, since then, it's been...
Yeah.
Getting crushed. So yes, like, good luck to me with that and, like, my backlog in general. Here's the problem. The backlog games are all huge.
Yeah.
So all of these are, like, at odds with each other.
Yeah.
That's why I should have to do more. More! My boyfriend's gonna be so mad at me when he listens to this episode. And, like...
That's why you need the backlog bingo, Madelyn.
I know, you're right.
You put a variety of games on it so you can pick as you feel.
I know, but I could still do that. The problem is I could do that now. But I don't. But anyway. Yeah, like I said, I need to figure out some kind of, like, just write a blog. Just, like, write a blog kind of format. I'd also, this is more of a, like, but I'd like to be a little bit more intentional about, like, I love a good working game thing.
Yeah.
Where I, like, turn on the game and use it to trick my brain into, like, I can game a little and I can work a little and get the tedious stuff done. And I love that, and I'm not gonna, like, give that up. But I do feel like I maybe didn't have, like, the optimal experience of Lost Judgment because I have, like, trained my brain into, like, when Judgment is on, I should be trading off gaming and working.
Yeah.
And, like, it's fine. Like, I don't think that... like, I think it's fine that I had a suboptimal experience with Lost Judgment. But in it being my top game of the year on my PlayStation replay, I was like, that seems wrong.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be a little bit more intentional in, like, sometimes being like, I don't have to be doing 4 things at once. I'm just gonna play the game now.
All right. Some good resolutions from both of us.
I think so. And also, I'd like to play 100 games this year.
Yes. I don't understand people who can play 100 games a year.
Play, like,
How do they do that?
Play tiny ones. If you're playing nothing but tiny games, you could do it.
I guess.
People aren't. But if you're playing, like, lots and lots and lots... If you, like, commuted a lot... If you played, like, if you had, like, a long commute and you played tiny games on your Switch, you could do it.
That's fair.
But I don't. So that won't be me.
Nope.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good 2024. Good one to Talk This. As Talk This enters its, 8th year?
Something like that.
We started in 2017, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, entering year 8. I'd Talk This, it's dangerous to podcast alone. Crazy. Should I reactivate our Instagram in 2024?
If you want. Is that what your resolution?
Yeah, maybe. I always a little self-conscious about it when I do the outro. I'm like, oh, I wonder if anyone's messaging us on Instagram.
No, I don't think so.
But what if they are? Anyway, listeners, this has been the final 2023 episode of Talk This.
Dangerous to podcast alone.
What did you play? What was your game of the year for 2023? What was your trends in gaming? Were you a scattered gamer? Were you a series gamer? Were you on your Switch, PlayStation, computer, Xbox? Was it the platinum year in gaming, or was it the poopy year in gaming? If you have thoughts on this or anything else or anything about this year, what was your favorite podcast of the year? I've got to say, I feel like our side quests in particular this year were strong.
Yeah.
We had some good topics this year. Some good, interesting topics. I feel like our mashups were maybe the worst they've ever been.
We'll work on that.
The real resolution is
we'll reflect on
better mashup. I need to do some reading on, like, how to design a game in 2024 so I can come in and not just be like, wow. Like, what was the one you were like ripping me about, or I was like suggesting something you were like, that doesn't make my open world turn-based. Oh, listeners, if you have thoughts on this or anything else, hit us up on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hey, I'm going to reactivate it. I'm just going to do it.
Okay.
And YouTube at Talk This Podcast. Is there going to be YouTube video? Whatever happened to Noodletus?
One day there will be more YouTube videos. One day.
So keep checking back.
I keep thinking about freeing myself from Adobe's stranglehold, but it'll take a lot of work.
You have to learn things.
I have to learn things to do that.
Anyway, hit us up on those social media platforms. You can also visit our website, www.talkthispodcast.com. Probably due for, like, is all the text on the website up to date, too, kind of thing. There's so much housekeeping that we should be doing at Talk This.
Alas.
But hit us up there. You can read all about the show, check out the games in the hat, and read our blog, which is going to be so active in 2024, featuring long-running series Click With Boyfriend, if they will ever release more Kingdom Hearts again, and Split Screen, which we will be posting one a day.
Probably not one a day.
And most importantly, though, if you enjoyed the show, you should subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts until the spring when it becomes YouTube. TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts, online on the app, Overcast, Pocket Cast, wherever you can find podcasts. Subscribe and download and rate and review and everything. Talk This.
I think we should go straight to your side quest next week.
Okay. That's probably good.
So 7 weeks of gaming as opposed to 8 weeks of gaming when we get to that.
That's probably for the best. Great. So do my side quest next week. Be like games for when you've got confetti everywhere.
Yeah.
Games for escaping Times Square when the ball drops. Games for the depth of winter.
And the week after that, we'll be talking about Batten Kaitos and Pizza Tower.
Right. And I was like, haha, Pizza Tower. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't know if it's haha.
I think it's haha.
I hope it's
I don't think it's delicious.
Ah, that was the problem. We'll look forward to that tasty episode in 2 weeks. It'll be good. It's like right when people's New Year's resolutions are like, they're back to eating pizza.
Right.
So they'll be like, yeah, I had a Pizza Tower 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So listeners, thanks for listening. Emma, do you have a 2023?
Happy New Year! Is it midnight yet?